Today I'll be reviewing one of the most popular personal finance books in New Zealand, Rich Enough by NZ Herald columnist Mary Holm. Now, in this book, Mary talked about the 7 steps to help you kill off debt, find a good KiwiSaver fund, invest and head towards retirement. Now, without further ado, let's get it started. So the first step is to start now. There are 3 main ways to accumulate more wealth. The first one is to earn more, the second one is to save more, and the third one is to invest the money that you have. So if you have saved for 10 years, you will get more than twice the amount than if you have saved for 5 years due to the magic of compounding interest. Compounding basically means that you are earning interest on top of the interest that you get in addition to the original amount, thus creating an exponential growth in the amount that you actually gain. So if you have invested $10,000 for 5 years at 8% return, you would get $4,693 in interest. Now compare this with if you have invested for 10 years. You will be getting $11,589. This is more than twice the return from investing for 5 years. Step 2 is to kill off high interest debt. Paying off a 20% credit card debt is essentially the same as having an investment that pays you 20% in returns. And there really aren't many investments that can even guarantee a 10% return. One of the main ways to achieve your goal of eliminating debt is to set SMART financial goals. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, written, and time-bound. So for specific, I could say that I want to get rid of all my credit card debt. And measurable means that I will pay off $100 per week towards my credit card debt. Achievable can mean that I am certain that I can make this repayment each week. Written means that you want to write out your goals and place it somewhere that you can see all the time. And time-bound means that you set a time frame for achieving your financial goal. For example, I will pay off my credit card debt 6 months from today. A commonly used method to save on purchasing unnecessary items is to put off the purchase decision for a day. And then you might realize that you don't actually need to make that purchase so badly after all. Step 3 is to set up insurance and a rainy day fund. Now, you should always try to have insurance if you can afford it. You might feel like that you are getting ripped off by insurance, but you should really consider yourself lucky if that's the case. Common insurance includes life insurance, disability insurance, house and content insurance, car insurance, travel insurance, and health insurance. Ideally, you should set up a 3 to 6 month rainy day fund just in case of emergencies. The easiest way to do this is to use an automatic payment to transfer around $100 per week into a savings account. Step number 4 is to join the best KiwiSaver fund for you. KiwiSaver is the New Zealand government retirement savings scheme, much like the 401k in the States. Check out my video on KiwiSaver for more information on that. So your employer would match a percentage of the employee contribution towards the KiwiSaver fund, and you would also get a tax credit of $521 per year if you contributed $1,043 or more per year. KiwiSaver also has incentives for first home buyers. So for first home buyers, after 3 years in the scheme, anyone can withdraw everything except $1,000 for buying their first home. You might also be eligible for a HOMESTART grant, which means the government can contribute $3,000 to $5,000 or twice that amount if it's for buying a new home. Check out the conditions with your mortgage broker if you want further information on that. Now, how do you select a KiwiSaver fund that is most suitable for you? The first place to go to is the sorted.org.nz website, and you can go through a questionnaire to work out your risk tolerance and sort the funds by the lowest fees. Next thing you want to do is to cross out funds that have consistently underperformed compared to average. Next thing is to check out the provider's website for further details on their funds. And finally, read through all the details of your selected finalists on the sorted.org.nz website in order to pick out the best KiwiSaver fund for you. Step number 5 is to boost your savings painlessly. How and where? So you want to start small and gradually increase your savings amount. So we're going to start with term deposits. You can shop around on the interest.co.nz website for a good term deposit rate currently offered by banks. For bonds, consider investing in a bond fund on investment sites such as InvestNow. For more information on that, check out my other video on where you should invest. In order to spread out your risk, you should also diversify your investment. The easiest way is, again, to use InvestNow. Check out my other video on the best funds currently available on InvestNow. In terms of buying individual company shares, it is generally not recommended to invest too much into one specific company, since most experts can't consistently pick out winning companies. Your average person probably have even less chance of doing so. In terms of rental property, investing in rentals requires borrowing, so it carries more risk along with the hassles of being a landlord. However, you could potentially get a much higher reward. The last thing in this step is to watch out for scams. Now, if something sounds too good to be true, then it probably is. Possibly the easiest way to spot a scam is if you have to pay upfront to receive a certain amount of money. If that is really the case, they should easily be able to take the commission out of the final amount that you would receive. If they are not able to do that, then there's a high probability that it is a scam. Step 6 is to stay cool. So the book recommended quite a few individual rules to help you stay cool under financial duress. The first rule is to spread your risk. You can spread your risk by owning lots of different types of assets, such as shares and bonds and different types of funds. Again, InvestNow is your friend here. Rule number 2 is to largely ignore past performance. One of the key takeaways is that past performance does not indicate future success. However, it does give you a rough indication of the range of returns that you might expect in the future. Rule number 3 is don't try to time the market. Invest at regular intervals. Research have shown that traders tend to do worse than regular investors that just invest at regular intervals. Rule number 4 is never be forced to sell. You want to always try have an emergency fund available so that you won't be forced to sell your shares at a low price. And finally, rule number 5 is to just sit back and relax. Long-term investing is as exciting as watching paint dry, so you might as well just sit back and relax and enjoy the ride. Step number 7 is to head confidently towards retirement and through it. The current life expectancy of New Zealand men is around 84 years old, and for women it's a little bit longer at 87 years old. For the New Zealand super, you would get around $463 per week, which equates to around $24,000 per year. And for a couple, you would get $702 per week, which is around $36,500 per year. While most people tend to spend less after retirement, you can still plan out your finances before retirement so that you would have an easier time later. One of the key points is to have a retirement savings goal. Now, this consists of 2 parts. Number 1 is money for regular spending, and number 2 is a lump sum amount for unexpected expenses. There are a few rules of thumbs to calculate your regular spending amount. Now, the first one is spend 6% of your savings. If you have saved $100,000, you would spend $6,000 or around $115 per week on top of the super that you receive. And the second rule of thumb is to divide your money by the number of years that you want it to last. So if you retire at 70 years old and you want your money to last for a further 20 years, you would spend 1/20th of that amount in the first year and 1/19th of that amount in the second year. And in the second to last year, you spend half the amount that's remaining. And in the very last year, you will just spend whatever is left and live off purely the super amount in future years. This second method means that you actually have more to spend for every upcoming year, which helps to keep up with inflation. Another possibility to save money is by moving house. So a lot of people have chosen to move to a smaller house to free up more cash. And another common option is to get boarders or flatmates to provide some company and help cover costs. Some people have also chosen to sell their house and go back to being a tenant, so they have less things that they need to take care of. On the subject of investing during retirement, due to the longer life expectancy, it might be worth having a 3 to 10 year account in bonds or a balanced fund, and also an account for 10 plus years in a share fund. Another good concept is the concept of laddering, which is where you stagger your term deposits in intervals of around 6 months, much like investing at regular intervals. Having term deposits that mature a few months apart lets you take advantage of any interest rate rises. Those are some of the key points that I have gathered from the book Rich Enough by Mary Holm. It is a very simple and easy to read book that I would definitely recommend people picking up and having a look. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.